Hello, I'm V-Shing from DVS. Welcome to my video. Today I'm going to talk about my experience using hardware video switch for live streaming. In my target workflow, I have 5 targets to achieve. The source, how many source I need to do it. Target, what type of I want to go out to. Okay. Then how easy to use it, or to learn, or to teach the next person, and whether there is some growth potential, because you just want to keep the switcher as long as possible. You buy a switch that is just perfect for certain thing, but when the time you want to do another thing, you cannot do it because you already limited your growth potential. You already buy what is that thing for, and you cannot do more than that. That's why another important thing is the growth potential, and lastly is the cost. So these 5 things is my target workflow. So my review will talk about it, and I will conclude how interesting or how it fit to the workflow. First one I want to talk about is from Blackmagic ATEM Mini. ATEM Mini is actually 4-channel HDMI input and 1 HDMI output. 2 3.5 stereo mini jack for microphone or from audio mixer. So in another word, Blackmagic ATEM Mini for my source in my target workflow, achievable. That's why I rank it 3 star, because it's achieved the three things that I want to do it. 2 cameras, 1 computer, and 1 audio. Target. ATEM Mini can support live stream. To live stream, you need to use the ATEM Mini USB 3.0 Type C port, which will act as a webcam output. It's actually shown in that device itself. It highlights it as a webcam. So because of that webcam, you can connect to third-party software encoder like OBS, and you can stream it out. Then for control ATEM, on the hardware itself, you can press the channel 1, 2, 3, 4. It will directly program out. But you want more features and control, software upgrade, it's recommended to connect Ethernet port to the computer and use the Blackmagic ATEM software control. You also can do control, you can do more things from there. So ATEM Mini have 1 HDMI output with program out. So you can only output to recorder or projector, but you cannot use it together unless I add on a HDMI distributor, amplifier distributor, to have 1 in and multiple out. Then from there I can go to projector, I can go to the recorder, but by itself it's only have 1 HDMI output. If you want multi-viewer monitoring, Blackmagic Mini cannot do it. You need to add a multi-viewer monitor like a brand called C-Tech with 1270. What it do was it have 4 HDMI input and output. That means you put channel 1 is in, then out. Out the one is connect to the ATEM Mini. So it's apply the same thing to the 2 HDMI 2, 3, and 4. And this monitor software by default can create a quad screen, so you can actually see 4 input at the same time. So you can monitoring the source that's incoming, and then from there you know which one to switch and whatever. So ATEM Mini have its limit because it only have one HDMI output for your projection or your distribution to a recorder and projector, and it don't have multi-viewer output. So it's a bit rigid in that way, but the beauty is you have a webcam output that you can use with software encoder like OBS to stream your video. So you may need to buy Blackmagic ATEM and a computer to run side by side. The computer with the OBS software will act as a streaming. The switch ATEM Mini will act as a switcher to switch it. Alright. It can do things like picture-in-picture, blue key, chroma key, or even playback or put a still photo output, but its function is a bit rigid. For example, you cannot have picture-in-picture and luma key at the same time. It must be one or the other. On the easy to use, ATEM Mini is quite easy if you base on what is on the switch. For example, I want to switch between 1, 2, 3, 4. The switch is there for you to select. There's not much you can on there. There's a button also to indicate whether you want the audio on all the time or the audio follow according to the channel. You can. That means if following according to the source, you can do it. So it is very nice to have, very nice to use, because if you want to be as simple as possible, just switching between the 1, 2, 3, 4, and whether you want to on and off the audio, it's all on the device itself. Very nice, very easy. But when you want to apply things like changing the picture-in-picture size or the layout or selecting the channel of the picture-in-picture, you need the software control from Blackmagic. This software will make a bit, it's very powerful because it can do more things, like it can do color collection of the input source. It can also do the audio volume control from individual source or the program out. It can actually do a lot of things, but when you're touching the software, that's where a bit complicated, the complication come in. So if you want to use the software, you need to learn a bit more, right? And because of that, I need one more computer for the software control. I don't recommend to use the same computer that you put the OBS for the streaming as the software control, because streaming by itself takes a lot of CPU processor power, and you putting a software controlling in the same computer will give a bit of too high CPU requirement that bound to be clash. So I will actually recommend to get one more computer for that controlling of the software. Alright, so this way is easy. As long that you teach according to what you use on the device. The software side a bit more complicated. Growth potential. ATEM Mini Besides a spare HDMI, that later I have to add one more cameras, it's not a problem, or one more computer, it's not a problem, but that's all I have. If I want to add on streaming features, alright, ATEM Mini have another version called ATEM Mini Pro, which have the streaming features in there. But you cannot upgrade from ATEM Mini. You need to sell it or pass it around this one to somebody else and buy a new one, ATEM Mini Pro, for their purposes. So that means the growth potential of ATEM Mini is quite restricted. So that's why I like to highlight on the growth potential, whether you need to aware whether how much it can grow when you really need to grow. ATEM Mini have very rigid in a way, alright. So there's no upgrade, but you must buy a new one to become a Mini Pro. Let's talk about the cost. ATEM Mini have full 5-star rating. So cost-wise, Blackmagic ATEM Mini was very, very good. It was the cheapest that I reviewed. The next video I'm going to review another brand. None of them can get as cheap as this Blackmagic ATEM Mini. None. ATEM Mini is only in RM 1,650 ringgit. So please take note. Very interesting factors which a lot of chasers will most probably will take note is the price factor. My source, my target, growth, easy to use, and growth and cost is now being explained. As I talk, you will notice I have also highlight on my video. So my conclusion in this review of Blackmagic ATEM Mini, it is the cheapest of my review of all the hardware switch. I'm referring to brand wise, good brand in Malaysia, and it has the advantage of live streaming capability because of it's able to have webcam output. All to do is get a software encoder like OBS, done. You can do the streaming. But it has its weakness. One of the weakness is the limited output. ATEM Mini do not have aux out, do not have multi-viewer out. It only have program out. So if you want a multi-viewer, all to do is add a multi-viewer monitor, which will increase the cost, but it also means it's limited growth potential. But please bear in mind, that's what Blackmagic ATEM Mini designed for. It's designed as a video switch with webcam output for live streaming. So if your target workflow is plainly streaming only, you don't care about the connection to the projector, don't care the connection to the recorder. It's not important. Only streaming purposes, yes, this is a nice solution for you.